I figure we have sufficient evidence to convict him.
Is there any indication that this was an organized plot, or was it just one man?
There's no one else but him. So far.
Now we're going to show you the press briefing of the suspect. This is in the assembly room at Dallas City Hall.
I positively know nothing about this situation here. I would like to have legal representation. I really don't know what the situation is about. Nobody has told me anything except that I'm accused of murdering a policeman. I know nothing more than that, and I do request for someone to come forward to give me a legal assistance.
Did you kill the president?
No, I've not been charged with that. In fact, nobody has said that to me yet. The first thing I heard about it was when the newspaper reporters in the hall asked me that question. A policeman hit me.
Still, there's no confession from Oswald, even in the face of an almost airtight case compiled by police and FBI men. How it will all turn out, only time will tell.
In the early morning darkness, the body of John Fitzgerald Kennedy was brought to the White House from Bethesda Naval Hospital. It was accompanied by his young widow, Jacqueline Kennedy, who had not been far from her husband's side since he was shot by a sniper in Dallas yesterday noon.
The final tribute of a long and terrible day came from KRLD newsman Jay Hogan.
It has all been a long, dark night since last Friday, and daylight hours are still muted here. But, Mr. President, may we say one last good night? When there must be perpetual light in your faraway Valhalla, wherever, reserved for souls like yours. And we can still see your bright smile and your vigorous stride through some mystic Elysian fields. Good night, Mr. President. Good night.
John Allen reporting 7 a.m. news briefs. A cold front has invaded Texas. The forecast for the Dallas-Fort Worth vicinity fair today, tonight, and Sunday. A little colder today and tonight. Officially at Dallas Love Field, it's 37 degrees. A bright yellow sun arose over the city of Dallas this morning, but it greeted a different Dallas than was yesterday morning. The city is very quiet. The city is very hushed. Mayor Earl Cabell has proclaimed today as a day of prayer for the city to mourn the shooting death of the president. The mayor asked that all places of worship, regardless of denomination, remain open through midnight tonight. People I met and talked to on my way down to the studio this morning were talking quietly about the events of yesterday and what happened. Also, we may report at this time that the latest report we have on Texas Governor John Connally from Parkland Hospital is that the governor is in satisfactory condition and that he has spent a very comfortable night, and the doctors are very well pleased with his prognostication at this time.
Gentlemen, having this door is open, they come through here. We don't want any of you questioning this boy. We don't want any of you pushing it.
Lee Harvey Oswald was taken from his jail cell on the 5th floor of the municipal building, City Hall, here in Dallas. He passed directly in front of us, had an almost complacent expression on his face. We noticed 2 scars, one over the left eye, the other on the lower left cheek. Police say he will be questioned further this morning. Bob Thornton reporting for WFAA News.
The wife and mother of the accused murderer of President John F. Kennedy have just left a Dallas police station. The wife, Mrs. Lee Harvey Oswald, was carrying one small child. The mother, Mrs. Marguerite Oswald, was carrying another baby.
When they came out, his mother would say only no comment. His wife would say only go away. Here in the White House this morning. quiet except for the voices of two priests kneeling either side of the catafalque which supports the casket and chanting their prayers through the night.
We have no information that Mrs. Kennedy has had a moment of sleep since the tragedy befell her and the nation yesterday afternoon in Dallas, Texas.
From 11 o'clock this morning to 2 o'clock this afternoon, the body will be viewed by officials and diplomats in the East Room of the White House. The public will be allowed to file past the casket in the rotunda of the Capitol tomorrow, and a Catholic funeral will be held in St. Matthew's Church here on Monday.
Behind me is the personal home of President Lyndon Baines Johnson. Almost hidden by trees, it's located in an exclusive residential area of Washington called Spring Valley. Now it's a maximum security area, swarming with policemen, plainclothesmen, Secret Service agents. In just a few moments, President Johnson is expected to leave his house here, come out through this driveway, and motor to the White House, where he has a busy round of schedules all day long.
Can you tell us who is conducting the questioning this morning?
J.W. Fritz, Captain.
He is the head of the homicide
Also,
bureau.
there's an FBI man in there. There's also a Secret Service man in there.
That is
How many
Jesse Curry of the Dallas Police Department.
How would you describe his mood during the questioning?
Very arrogant. Has been all along.
What did you say, Chief?
He just denies everything.
Did you say, Chief, that a policeman had seen him in the building?
Yes.
After the shot was fired? Why didn't he arrest him then?
Because the manager of the place told us that he was an employee. He said he's all right, he's an employee.
Does he seem mentally right, Chief?
Yes, he's mentally right.
You don't think the man is off his rocker?
No, sir, I don't. No, sir, I don't think so.
Is there any doubt in your mind, Chief, that Oswald is the man who killed the
I
president?
think this is the man that killed the president.
Any comment, huh?
Well, I'd like to have it extend to me the basic fundamental hygienic rights. I mean, like the shower.
With Lee Harvey Oswald again, he was asking for the right to take a shower. He has still displayed the cut over his left eye and on his left chin. Now we presume that further interrogation will continue on into the night by Homicide Captain Will Fritz.
Dallas police have said just a few moments ago that they have in their possession photographs showing Marxist Lee Harvey Oswald holding the rifle that killed the president.
Defense Department records show that Lee Oswald qualified as a sharpshooter with a rifle when he was in the Marine Corps. President Kennedy and Governor Conley were shot with a high-powered rifle from the 5th floor of the Texas School Book Depository at Houston and Elm shortly after noon yesterday.
The FBI reports that Oswald purchased the Italian-made 6.5 Carcano bolt-action rifle with telescopic sight from a Chicago mail-order house for $12.78.
The new president, Lyndon Baines Johnson of Texas, will continue the meetings with his cabinet this morning, seeing Secretary of State Rust first. President Johnson also will see former President Eisenhower this afternoon.
The Oval Office of the President now stripped and bare of all touches of personality, ready and waiting for President Johnson. This is George Herman at the White House.
Governor John Connally, recovering in a Dallas hospital of wounds received in yesterday's shootings that killed President Kennedy, was told today of the president's death. Mrs. Connally talked to her husband at Parkland Hospital this morning, and the governor's first question was about President Kennedy's condition. After hearing Mrs. Connally's answer, the governor said, "That's what I was afraid of."
Near the scene of the assassination of the President of the United States, thousands of cars, buses, trucks is passing by the Texas Book Depository.
On the streets of Dallas, residents expressed their shock.
I still can't believe it. My wife and I both vowed that we will be better Christians, Americans, and people as a result of this great sacrifice.
Still hard to believe that there'd be people in the United States or even the world who would do a dastardly thing such as this.
We're all real shocked, and we just couldn't believe that anything could happen like this. We're all real sorry.
I just couldn't believe it happened here in Dallas. I just hope people just don't blame us for it.
Because Dallas didn't want it to happen.
Young man like that getting killed. Besides another policeman. What are we coming to?
It just makes you ashamed that you live here.
The whole world should not frown upon Dallas. As such, we should frown upon ourselves as a nation for such an occurrence.
A lifelong Republican, that makes no difference. A real great man is gone, and we're all going to suffer for it, and we all should.
A grim spectacle here in the city of Dallas, near the scene of the assassination of the President of the United States. This is Art Sinclair reporting.
I have just visited with Mr. Oswald in his cell, and he advises that his first preference is that he be represented by a lawyer in New York, whose name, I believe, is John Abt, A-B-T.
Oswald, the 24-year-old self-styled Marxist, called for New York lawyer John Abt, who is long associated with leftist causes.
May I ask it again, is it possible for this man to get an impartial jury? Would you answer that again, please?
Well, in my opinion, it is.
I think he can get a fair trial in Dallas.
I think he can get a fair trial in Dallas.
And you will conduct the trial?
Yes, sir, I plan to.
And you will ask capital verdict?
We'll ask the death penalty.
How many cases of this type have you been involved in? That is, when the death penalty is involved.
Since I've been district attorney, I've asked the death penalty in 24 cases.
And how many times have you attained it?
23.
Thank you, Mr. District Attorney.
Chief, do you have any concern for the safety of your prisoner in view of the high feeling among the people of Dallas over the assassination of the president?
No, but precautions necessary. Precautions will be taken, of course, but I'm not. I don't think that that the people will try to take the prisoner away from us.
That was Lee Harvey Oswald again.
The Attorney General Robert Kennedy and the Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara had been to Arlington this morning to look at burial sites. This had led to conclude that that was where the burial of President Kennedy would take place, in Arlington Cemetery just outside Washington.
Although Dallas police assert and confess communist Lee Oswald is the assassin of President Kennedy, the State Department authorities say they have no evidence that Russia or any other foreign power was involved in the death of the president.
This is WFAA 570 AM and FM in Dallas. We will rejoin ABC Network immediately after these headlines from the Radio 57 newsroom.
Hundreds of newsmen now are at Dallas City Hall awaiting the possible removal of Lee Oswald, who has been charged in the murder of the late President Kennedy, to the Dallas County Jail.
People still are wondering exactly when Oswald will come down and be moved from the Dallas City Jail to the Dallas County Jail. No one has known exactly when the transfer would take place.
We have remote facilities at the county jail now, awaiting the arrival of Lee Oswald from the city jail to the county jail.
This is an armored truck from the Dallas County Sheriff's Department that will carry Lee Harold Oswald from the basement here of Dallas Police Headquarters downtown to the Dallas County Sheriff's Office and the Dallas County Jail. Strict security precautions have been exercised as fear arises and grows stronger that someone may attempt to take the life of the man accused of murdering the President of the United States. Inside the basement here at Dallas Police Headquarters, guards are stationed at points all across the inside of the basement. All incoming cars throughout the morning have been carefully checked. Even the police vehicles have been searched inside the trunk and inside the rear compartments of paddy wagons that have entered here in the basement. And no one who is not a member of the press and not able to show an identification can enter the basement. The basement is empty except for a large gathering of reporters